Today is December 3rd, 2025. My name is Rob Carter of Kalamazoo Right to Life. This is Pro-Life Week. Well, it has been a busy week in the pro-life community, and the week's only half over. So we're gonna jump right in. Not all of it's good news, but mostly it's encouraging. First item, encouraging news. Pro-life pregnancy care centers in New York State may continue to inform their patients about the possibility of reversing chemical abortion, says the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in their ruling on Monday. The ruling, the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, that's the pro-life group, versus Letitia James. Now, maybe you'll recognize that name. She was infamous or famous during the lawfare against Donald Trump back in 2024, maybe 2023. James is the New York State Attorney General. Okay, getting back to this case. The ruling upholds a district court ruling back in August, which granted a preliminary injunction to the pro-life group's network of pregnancy resource centers against state prosecution. Quote, "This ruling is a major victory for pregnancy resource centers and the women and children they serve," said Joy Stockbauer, policy analyst for the Center for Human Dignity and the Family Research Council. The controversy began last year when New York Attorney General Letitia James sued 11 pro-life pregnancy care centers operating in New York by a different network, Heartbeat International, on the basis of a recently adopted new law. James's lawsuit alleged that Heartbeat International clinics were engaging in misleading advertising by informing women that it is possible to reverse the effects of the abortion pill through a timely dose of progesterone. In fact, countered Alliance Defending Freedom, which we're all familiar with, which represents the Heartbeat International group, statistics show that abortion pill reversal has likely saved more than 7,000 unborn lives, and current research demonstrates a success rate of up to 64 to 68%. And that's a great statistic. So, I mean, we've known for a long time that the pro-abortion liberals, primarily Democrats, have been going after pregnancy care centers to shut them down. And these clinics, these 11 clinics in New York State, were using the abortion pill reversal method successfully, and they were being challenged, and they wanted to shut them down. Okay, so this is good news. This is great news. And whether or not the state of New York is going to appeal this to the U.S. Supreme Court, I don't know. My guess is this is probably going to end it right here. Okay, number two, this is the discouraging news. A federal judge on Tuesday, for those keeping score, that's yesterday, a federal judge blocked President Trump's administration from cutting off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood in 22 states and in the District of Columbia. The decision hands a temporary victory to the abortion business and Democrat-led states challenging the policy as unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani, an Obama appointee in Massachusetts, issued a preliminary injunction against a provision in the Republican-led Congress's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The measure bars Medicaid. So this is the original Trump law or act. It bars Medicaid reimbursements to tax-exempt organizations that kill babies in abortions and receive more than $800,000 in such funds during fiscal year 2023. Pro-life advocates had championed the law as a critical step to redirect taxpayer dollars, that's important, away from abortion companies ending federal taxpayer support in large entities like Planned Parenthood. The ruling applies to a coalition of 22 states led by California, Connecticut, and New York, plus the nation's capital. Okay, last item, and the last item is the most important of the three. And hopefully you'll understand why as I continue. Yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments in First Choice Women's Research Centers versus Platkin, a case challenging a broad investigative subpoena infringing on the First Amendment rights of a pro-life pregnancy care center. The High Court is expected to decide the case by June 2026. So this is a Supreme Court case. The conservative majority, I think, has been very open to pro-life issues. Obviously, the Dobbs decision was the most impactful of all of them. But even if you were to exclude Chief Justice John Roberts, there are still a majority, I believe, of 5 justices who are looking very closely at the entanglements that the pro-abortion people are putting on pregnancy care centers. And this is a prime example. And let's keep reading here. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin claims, without any evidence, that First Choice Women's Research Centers, a religious nonprofit, provides, here we go again, false and misleading information to women and has demanded, so the state has demanded that this pregnancy care center hand over advertising materials on the abortion pill reversal protocol, donor lists, personnel files, and other operational records spanning the last 10 years. So if you're pregnancy care centers, you have to hand over your donor list, names, addresses, perhaps how much they've donated. I know what right does the state of New Jersey have on forcing a pregnancy care center to hand over that material or their personnel files? That is an infringement on their right of free speech. Okay. And the issue of the abortion pill reversal. So they're all, it's like a hydra there, and it's all kind of interconnected, all these issues. Okay. First Choice, represented by Alliance Defending Freedom, asks the Supreme Court to resolve a technical but urgent constitutional question of whether a state subpoena that chills First Amendment rights must first be litigated in state court before seeking federal court relief. In its high court petition, First Choice argues that Attorney General Platkin's subpoena improperly targets its pro-life viewpoint, chills donor participation, and that this infringement on its First Amendment rights should be heard in a federal forum. Many of the justices focused their questions on whether New Jersey's subpoena actually carries an enforcement mechanism to punish First Choice if it did not reveal its donor information. The justices reasoned that this subpoena could give ordinary donors pause before contributing or associating with First Choice. So I can't, making predictions is a risky business. So I'm not going to make a prediction, but I do think this will probably be a 6-3 or a 5-4 ruling in favor of First Choice, that they should not be forced to hand over donor lists, personnel files, and information regarding the abortion pill reversal. So the fact that it's gone to the Supreme Court to me makes this the biggest story of the three, because the Supreme Court is the last line in the whole federal judiciary, and what the justices decide is fixed, unless obviously it's overturned, like Dobbs overturned Roe v. Wade. But court reversals are very few in number. So if the court rules in first choice's favor, this probably will end these types of intrusions on how pregnancy care centers just operate. And they're nonprofits. They rely on donations from individuals, churches, fundraising dinners. They do not have these well-oiled multimillionaire or billionaires that the pro-abortion people have. When they're underwriting these referendums that were successful, they were out fundraising pro-life groups 5-1, 10-1, 20-1. I mean, just the numbers were staggering. How much money the pro-abortion billionaires and millionaires donated to these referendums, this cause. And pregnancy care centers, they need every penny they can get, and that includes the one in Kalamazoo, or the ones in Kalamazoo, I should say. There's more than one. So with that, I will let you go. I will see you next time.